Hi everyone, it's me, Tim, and today I want to talk to you about my brother's D&D miniatures. Let me give you some background. I started playing D&D in the late 70s, and it was a bit of a learning curve to play D&D. It was nothing like me or any of my friends had ever played before, and we got the books, and at first the first book out was the monster manual. So I had a basic set and a monster manual, and the monster manual was for AD&D, and then there was the basic set for basic D&D. And I kind of learned how to play from that. Then I got a player's handbook, which contradicted so much stuff in the basic D&D manual, like clerics could cast spells at first level in AD&D, and halflings and elves were races, not classes. So we ended up restarting everything at D&D, but with AD&D, but we still didn't really know how to play. So we would have sessions where everyone would make a character, even the DM, and run through a session until everybody was dead. And then we'd all make new characters. So we were making new characters like every time we played. We finally settled down and had a long running campaign, which was super fun. Played it all throughout high school and part of college. People got high enough level to make characters with strongholds and followers. Some of them got married and had kids, and then they wanted to roleplay the kids. And at some point, even though we always played with maps and used tokens, at some point somebody got a D&D figurine. I want to say it was my friend William. I think it was him first. And he painted it, and everyone was like, ooh, that's really cool. By then, I was usually the DM. So I didn't have any miniatures. But people started getting miniatures. And my brother, Greg, he would play with us occasionally. He's 2 years older than me. So this was probably right near the beginning when we were playing. I was probably 14, so he would have been 16. He started buying miniatures at a local hobby store. And this is back when they were made of lead. So these are lead figurines. I'm going to show them to you. I picked, he has a collection of about, I would say, a dozen. I picked my 5 favorite that even now, 44 years later, I still remember these figures. So let's take a walk down memory lane, and I will show you my brother's D&D miniatures. This is the first one. Now you're probably looking at that going, I can't tell what it is. Is it a tree stump? Is it a roper? Is it some sort of cocoon monster? Is it one of those lemur devil demon things that's, not quite a fully formed creature? No. This was in a package labeled air elemental. If you look really carefully in the middle, you can kind of see a face. Now, I had to explain to Greg that you didn't play an air elemental. That this was something that the DM would use to put out in a fight. And in the few years we'd been playing, I don't think anybody had ever encountered an air elemental. So I wasn't sure how much use he'd get out of this. I know he primed it. Doesn't look like he ever painted it. But this particular amorphous blob thing was often used as a stand-in for anything that we didn't have a miniature for. But I always used to look at it and go, oh, it reminded me of the main character in the movie Altered States when he started to evolve or devolve or whatever was happening to him at the end of the movie. That's what this blob reminded me of. Keep in mind, that is a giant blob of primed lead. So then, the next character my brother action figure that he had that I loved was this guy. This came in a box labeled Fire Mage. Now, I looked at this character and I'm like, I'm trying to see Fire Mage because if you look carefully at that stuff up top, there are faces in there. It looks like demon summoning, or maybe this is an air elemental. I'm not sure. But then you look down at the Fire Mage, And he himself doesn't look like he's too healthy. I mean, I'm thinking, is this a lich? Is this some kind of skeletal, horse-faced demon caster? I can't really tell. But what it doesn't look like is a fire mage. Now, granted, if you painted it and put colors on it, you could probably make that look like flames up top. Flames with faces. But I don't think this one ever really got used much. If it did, it was the stand-in for generic, hostile NPC mage. But let's go on to the next one. The next one, these are probably in order of how I like them, but they're really a random order. But I love this next one. So we're in a hobby store. My brother sees a figurine and decides that's the one he wants. It was this guy. This is a male figure laying face down with a knife in his back. Now, a lot of times when people buy miniatures, it's for a character they want to play. And more than that, it's something aspirational. I want to be a fire mage. I want to be a paladin. And you buy a miniature that kind of reflects that aspiration. My brother picked this guy. He's already dead. He's lying face down. There's a knife sticking out of his back. This is a very unique situation. I'm not sure we ever found a use for this character, except maybe once you die, we replace your figurine with this guy. I know at one point I thought about making a dungeon where you go in and find someone with a knife in his back, and it's kind of a murder mystery module. But even in the store, I was like, Greg, are you sure you want to buy this figure? It's not really an action figure. It's more of an inaction figure. And nope, he wanted it, brought it home. I was always waiting for him to paint it. I wanted some blood on there, wanted some drips coming down the side. All he did, I believe, if you look, all he did is prime it. So, there we go. The fourth one out of 5 that I want to show you, my brother made a character, boom, Vincent Vision Maker. I searched, I thought I had his character sheet, I can't find it. But let me tell you some interesting things about Vincent Vision Maker. This was one of my brother's early characters, quite a successful one. He had a long-running career. I think he made it up to double digits in level, like 10 or 11. But what was interesting about Vincent Vision Maker, he was an illusionist, so he's aptly named. But let me just say that most illusionists don't announce that they're illusionists in their name, because that kind of undercuts the fact that now people you're throwing your spells against will know to save versus magic to see through your illusion. But no, he would announce himself. He was Vincent Vision Maker. He was, second thing that was weird, he was very aggressive, very in your face, very, hey, you better do what I say kind of character. Again, an illusionist. No armor. D4 hit points. Not somebody who should basically be getting in people's faces. But if that wasn't enough, Vincent Vision Maker came with his own catchphrase. That's right, this character came with a tagline that my brother would frequently say when his character entered combat. And that catchphrase was, "You're cruising for an illusion." Yes, not only did this illusionist name himself Vincent Vision Maker, but he'd announce that he was actually about to cast an illusion spell on you. Again, begging the people he was casting on to say versus magic to see through his illusions. Despite all this, Vincent was an incredibly successful character. I don't know how, but he was. And then before I show you the last figurine, I'm going to tell you who it's for. I talked about this character, Ricardo Montano. This is my brother's character. You can see August 1st, 1980. So I would have been 14. Greg would have been, actually, I think Greg would have already turned 17 by then. This is what he thought was a good character. It was his bard. Now here he's only a level 7 fighter. He would later become a thief, and then switch to the bard class. Note, I mean, he had incredible stats. I think he rolled that in front of me. So, I mean, look at that. 18, 16, 16, 16, 16, 16. That's crazy. And yes, that is a picture of Ricardo Montalban in a onesie when he was doing trapeze stunts on ABC Circus of the Stars on television. Anyway, this was a very successful character. He ended up in Temple of Elemental Evil. I mentioned that in another video called Tabletop Influences. But my brother went out and bought a figurine because he was playing Z-Axis so much that he wanted represented as a D&D miniature. And here's the one he bought. And yep, that's Z-Axis. So that's the same guy. That's Ricardo Montalban with, I guess, slightly longer hair. And what I thought was a dress, it is a blouse that goes down almost to his knees. I don't think, the way it's painted, I don't think he's wearing pants, but he is wearing very high boots. Obviously a bard at this point. He's got his lute or his lyre. I'm pretty sure that's a lute. And if you look carefully at the face, you can see that he is singing. He's in mid-cast of his bard song. Anyway, and it's painted. So like Vincent and Z-Axis actually were worthy of being painted. Anyway, I wanted you to see these miniatures because these are my favorite D&D miniatures ever. They're in my brother's collection at his house, but he said I could do this and he sent me pictures and I wanted to share them. I hope you liked it. Have a good day.